Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick. This is a channel called Watch List Roulette, a channel dedicated to cinema and the discussion of cinema. Today, I'm going to be doing a discussion or a talk or a deep dive or a review, whatever you want to call it, on Perfect Days, a 2023 film directed by Wim Wenders. There are a lot of films of Wim Wenders that I appreciate greatly. He is a shapeshifter. He makes many different feeling films, and Perfect Days is another one of those. Usually when I do these videos, I put together some notes or something to help keep myself in order and organized and know what I'm talking about, but today I'm just doing this off the hop. We're taking the good old Bill O'Reilly approach today.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So Perfect Days is a film, came out at the tail end of 2023. I saw it in February. Solitude might be the key word when we're talking about a film like Perfect Days. Koji Yakusho is an actor who is playing a man called Hirayama. Hirayama lives in Tokyo. He lives in a small apartment. When I say small, I mean cramped like a shoebox, but he doesn't seem to mind. He has his houseplants. He has his photo albums, tins full of photos upon photos upon photos. He works as a professional toilet cleaner in the city of Tokyo for a company called the Tokyo Toilet Company. He has his own van with all his own gadgets and all his own work paraphernalia. He wakes up every morning at the crack of dawn, grabs a coffee from the vending machine, and goes on his way about Tokyo cleaning toilets, and he takes pride in his work. He does not cut corners. He makes every toilet station, public toilet area in the city spick and span and brand new, even though his younger, much more social coworker will just say, what's the point? It's just gonna get dirty again. But Hirayama is a guy who takes a lot of pride in his work and goes about making sure things are as good as they can be anyway. And as we learn a little bit more about Hirayama's character, this is a character who does not talk very much. A lot of his communication to you as the audience is through facial expression, through the way he carries himself, watching what he does. We're learning more about who he is from all of that than any conversation could tell us. When he wakes up in the morning to go to work every day, again, this is a character who leads a very simple life. He kind of walks out the front door, even if it's on the tail end of a bad day, or maybe it's even on the tail end of a good day, it really doesn't matter. When he wakes up the next morning, and before the sun has even come out, there is very much this look of gratitude on him. He looks up, he looks around. The world that he enjoys and appreciates seems to be still standing. It seems to, I don't know, just the gratitude, the slight little smirk he has when he looks around, almost to say like, oh, it's all still here. It didn't burn down overnight. This this is great. I get to continue to do what I do and live how I live. Takes a deep breath in and just starts and goes about his day. He takes his van around Tokyo. He plays cassette tapes of old music that he really enjoys, and he just goes to work. He has a younger coworker, like I mentioned before, that carries the everyday stresses that a young person might have. They might not enjoy their job. He is often stressed out about getting a date with a girl he likes. All the everyday, normal stresses that a young person might go through are things that are totally going over Hirayama's head. Hirayama doesn't really worry about those types of pressures, and we see that his easygoing, simple lifestyle is confusing to a lot of people around him, whether it be his coworker, whether it be his niece who runs away from home and joins him for a few days in his day-to-day life. People that he meets in the moment as he's working, they are often a product of the real world. The real world feels like one that Hirayama isn't living in my personal opinion. Everybody's on the go, everybody's moving, everybody's somewhat stressed, everybody's busy, and it's just the way the world works. It is moving, moving, moving. It is frenetic, and it is, whether it's kids crossing the street at a crosswalk, or a man carrying bundles of random shit with him, just wandering around the city, whether it's somebody trying to figure out how the public toilets work, whether it's a character with money issues, all of these things are strange, almost alien to Hirayama. Hirayama's a simple creature. He doesn't talk much. He works. He takes pride in his work. On his off time, he's watering his garden. He's reading a book. He goes to eat a sandwich on his lunch break in the park. Not many distractions in terms of noise or visual distractions. He just sits there and he just relaxes. He has an old camera with him that he takes pictures of trees with. He tries to get it at the right angle, and maybe one day he's going to get the perfect picture that he's looking for. When he goes to bed at night, he has dreams. These dreams are often abstract. You often are not sure what he's dreaming about. Maybe even he doesn't know what he's dreaming about. But the dreams are like a surreal transport between one day to another as we are following this character through their everyday life, which is very simple and very stripped down and minimal and comforting to a viewer like me. This is a film that is very much about a real character in day-to-day life, working a working class job. It is, make no mistake, if you were going into this film thinking that something more exciting than toilets being cleaned is going to happen, maybe there is. It's tough to say. You see him interact with so many different characters in the film, but the way he's interacting, he's just really there. All these other characters, again, whether it be his coworker, whether it be his niece, whether it be a quick scene with his sister that shows up at his apartment, whether it be random passersby that he meets in the park, a bookstore owner, people in the local restaurant that he frequents. His interactions with them aren't necessarily conversational. They're not face-to-face, word-to-word, but they are ones where he is embracing and studying the world around him. And a lot of the times it doesn't seem like he truly understands or connects. People getting stressed out over a baseball game, people having money issues, people looking for something greater in life. And it's tough for him to relate because he's at a point where he is peaceful and he is grateful for what he has in front of him. And Hirayama is a character that very much lives in the now, and he is coming into interaction with characters who are still living in the past or are looking forward to the future and maybe don't truly understand how he is able to stop in his own tracks and just smell the roses, as they say. He is an anomaly in a modern world that is always moving. To me, it's very relaxing. To me, it's incredibly comforting. I think it's because when you live in a fast-paced world, it is so comforting to see somebody living in the moment and just enjoying what they enjoy, the things that are right in front of them. And that could be a great cassette. It could be Lou Reed on cassette. It could be Nina Simone. It could be The House of the Rising Sun. A conversation with a woman who works at a restaurant that he frequents. Maybe just the exchanging of a few words with her is enough to give him butterflies. Finding a way to take the perfect picture of his favorite trees, that is something he looks forward to every day. A walk or a bicycle ride. Interacting with, finding a new book to read, finishing one and then moving on to another that seems somewhat interesting. He is a character that doesn't socialize much. I relate heavily to that. I definitely, when I was watching it, I definitely did see a version of myself in Hirayama, almost like looking into a mirror. I often drown myself in films and in music and in books, and as I get a little bit older, I start to not care so much about the pressures of the outside world and what's going on there. It's just not all that interesting. To me, this is a world where we worry too much about the future. We put too much stock into what the future might hold. And Hirayama is a character that, at some points it's alluded to that there are troubles from his past. It's only alluded to, it's never totally explained. But Hirayama is a character that doesn't really think about the past, and he's not interested in the future. At a certain point in my life, I've started to adopt a similar thought process because the future is not guaranteed. None of us know what the future will hold. We might go to 80, 90, 100, or we might, sorry to be morbid, we might get fucking hit by a bus tomorrow just because we look the wrong way. The future is not an important thing to worry about. The past can go hand in hand with it. We can put the past and future together and say that neither of them matter at all. But what is in front of you now in the present is something that I think a lot of us need a wake-up call to kind of stop and appreciate the things that we enjoy. And Hirayama's character is a beacon that represents that concept, and it was something that I loved watching. There are heartbreaking moments in this film where you are seeing bits of his past come through that make him rather emotional. Things are referenced that are part of his past, but they're never totally explained. And I love the fact that Wim Wenders doesn't feel the need to explain this character's past, because the concept of this character is that the past and the future don't matter. And so it doesn't make sense to go into who he was before this happened, because the past doesn't matter to Hirayama, and it shouldn't matter to us. There's a pivotal moment where he's riding a bike with his niece on a bridge, and she coaxes him to take on some sort of activity that she thinks might be fun. And he says, "Oh, next time." And she kind of is confused by his meaning, and he says, "Next time is next time, now is now." She loves that idea. She adopts that idea. They roll down the bridge, riding their bicycles, repeating this little mantra over and over. And it was one that I adopted when I left the theater. When I left the theater, I walked down the street through the city, found a little Japanese restaurant because I saw him eating at little Japanese street restaurants, and I was like, shit, I'm in the mood for that. I went, grabbed some Japanese food, tried to put my phone away because the phone is a technology, and constant information is a poison that I'm trying to get out of my system. I'm trying my best not to be near it as much as I am. And I just sat there and I ordered my food and a beer, and I sat around and I did my best Hirayama impression, and I people watched, and I took in the sounds and the smells and the visuals and the food in front of me, and thought about the film I had just seen, and really tried to take it in, that the simple things about life that I love are maybe the things that give you the purpose to live. Perfect Days is a film that made me realize that next time isn't necessarily as important as we make it out to be. Maybe now is what we need to be focused on and what we have to enjoy. I spent so much time talking about this film and what I took from it. I didn't even get to tell you about how much I feel about it. I absolutely love this film. Again, coming off of me talking about it, my exuberance toward Hirayama and the fact that he's a character I would take a fucking bullet for just because of how wholesome he is. This is a film that, in its simple, grounded, everyday life style, I loved it so much. I could have watched it for like 2 more hours. I could have just stayed with this character in his world and his simple routine. I love the dream sequences, these like black and white, abstract, almost expressionistic representations of a dream. I don't know, it's just so wonderful to be in the world of this character, and I loved every single minute of it. It's a film that I'm going to go back to again and again and appreciate more and more. And I don't know, anytime a film can give you a new appreciation or a new lease on life, that's a special thing that is incredibly hard to do. But when it is done right, it is a powerful thing, and Perfect Days is a powerful film that I would recommend to anyone and everyone. I earlier made a review of All of Us Strangers where I talked about, if I knew how good that film was, it would be in my top 10 of 2023, which was a video I released maybe a month or 2 back. Made it too early. There are always some stragglers that come in near the end of the year that blow you away, and Perfect Days, dude, if I had to retroactively go back, it would be like top 5 of the year for me. Absolutely loved it. I connected with it on personal levels. It was one of those, sometimes when you see a film that you need to see at that moment, then and there, in that time, and that's what Perfect Days was for me. You can even say the same thing about All of Us Strangers, but 2 films at the end of the year that blew me away, that are well among my favorites of the year, that I wish got more recognition. That's it on that. Again, I didn't really write notes or have any kind of script to work with. I just felt like talking about this film today. I just felt like rambling about it. I've been meaning to do a video on it, and now I'm glad we did. So hell yeah, if you haven't seen this film, do it. It's not totally conventional. It might be slow for you. You might even feel a little bit bored at times. It is very simple and contemplative, but it is well worth your time. I think it is a very rewarding experience. If you have seen this film, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. I'd be happy to see what you think of it. If you are new here, you can subscribe to the channel. It's Watchlist Roulette. All I do here is talk about cinema, films of old, films of new. I've got a series called Watchlist Roulette where I randomize films from a giant list that I have, and I talk about them and review them on this channel. If you're into that, cool. Join the club. If you're a current subscriber here and you are continuing to enjoy videos here, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I enjoy making them. And we're just going to keep things rolling. That's it. I'm trying to think of what the next thing I'm going to do is. Criterion Collection sale haul video coming. I picked up a few things during the Criterion Collection sale a couple weeks ago. A video coming on that. More Watchlist Roulette discussion reviews. Wherever the wind takes us. Wherever we go next. I'm not too sure, but loving making videos on this channel, and I hope you're enjoying them as well. So until next time, whatever that was, do yourself a favor, do me a favor, take care of yourself, and I'll see you later.